Right.
Okay, so are we beginning?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, Olga, you asked me how I began the violin. How and why did you begin the violin?
It was not my decision. I wanted piano because that's what I more knew about. But the people in the music school, they said that I have good ear, so maybe the violin would be better. And since my grandfather was a violinist, so they said let's go for the violin.
So when you got to the school, you actually picked the piano.
Mm-hmm.
Your
Yeah.
parents must have been upset because the idea
Yeah.
all along from them was for you to play the violin.
Yeah, but I said maybe the piano because for some reason I was more familiar with the piano. But they said maybe the violin would be better. If you don't like it, we'll switch. But I was so little, I can like barely remember that. Maybe when I was like 15, 16, I said I want to be a violinist. So tell me about the violin. How did you start and so?
How did I start?
How did you get interested and when did you start and how it was?
Well, it was a strange case. In school in Lancaster, New York, where I grew up, they noticed in music class that I could sing okay. Because you seem to be able to hold a pitch. Maybe you should play an instrument. It's that simple. I never thought of it before. I played piano. My mother's a piano teacher and a church organist, and I learned from her when I was little, a little bit at home. And so I said, "Which instrument would you like to play?" And me being a weird kid, I said, "Which one's the hardest?" And they thought I'd probably try and avoid that one. And they said, "Well, the violin or the saxophone," which is probably completely made up. They just wanted violin and saxophone players, probably. But I said, "Well, the violin's made out of wood, so that's cool. I'll do that." That was my criteria for picking the violin. It wasn't like some calling or. And off I went, and I became quite good at it.
My mother was a violinist, and she wasn't professional in the sense that she played in an orchestra or concertized, but she did teach violin at home. And so when I was a little girl, I thought that the whole world played the violin, except fathers. Fathers went off to the office and were businessmen or whatever, and the rest of the world played the violin because there was this constant stream of kids and teenagers who came to the house to play the violin. So of course I wanted to play the violin too, and it's that simple.
Okay, so that was you who chose the instrument, not your parents.
Right, because it's just, it just, as a little girl, it just seemed that everybody played the violin, you know, and so I wanted to do that too. So it was natural for my mother to teach me and start me off.
So how old were you when you first started?
I first started when I was 3. So I took piano for a couple years, and then when I was about 6, I started in earnest.
Well, how old were you?
Probably about 8 at that point.
Okay.
Maybe going after this would be like in 3rd grade. It really didn't start lessons until probably I was 4th grade. I was 9 then, probably.
So you started as a classical student?
Yeah, normal everyday classical student. And ended up going on to college on a full scholarship for violin. But it really wasn't my main love at that time. It was just something I was quite good at. And I got in a band right away with the bass guitar. It was pretty hot, playing 5, 6 days a week and recording when I was 18 and talking about touring, and our records were getting played on local radio, and I thought I was going to be a superstar. And I didn't last real long in college. I eventually bagged college and gave up the full scholarship and never looked back.
Very structured, but certainly there's our instruction, espressivo, right? I think there were always fears of like, how am I going to make a living? What am I going to do after school? And that was always scary. And so there were I think for everyone, always fear would be doubt, kind of all packaged together. So certainly, and I was interested in a lot of other things, but in a way, it was just the path of least resistance for me.
If you are not a violinist or not a musician, what would be your job?
I would surely been an architect.
Oh really? Why?
As a kid, I loved drawing and I loved lines. I loved drawing house plans. That was my hobby. I'd get out graph paper and design the perfect house for me. Every week, my father would cut out the newspaper clipping of the house of the week and I'd study it. And surely if I wasn't a musician, I would have been an architect.
Any professional musician surviving a career, you're going to have to do whatever is thrown at you also, you know, and then it doesn't matter, you have to play it like you love it and play it like you own it, even if you hate it. And believe me, we've all had to play things we hate.
That was Daphne by Django Reinhardt.
So what decision did you make? What
Yeah,
did you
well,
do for college, for university?
For the last year I was studying English like crazy and I took entrance exams to English departments to the English departments, and guess what? And I failed the entrance exams because I was doing both the violin and the English. So and I just failed. Like I got F in both.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and my parents was like really disappointed. Yeah, really disappointed, and then my English teacher was disappointed. And
Did you have a chance to take it again and maybe do better, or?
no, I ended up being nowhere.
You know, I like that honking stuff. I put every chord as a seventh chord. Why did you want to learn from me?
Oh, because I heard you playing at that time, the first time, and I like your style. And I don't like this kind of crazy, jazzy, you know, going all around the place. This is too sophisticated for me. Not many violinists are like that, but like saxophone players and trumpet. I don't like that type of jazz. It's maybe once in a while, but that's not for me to pursue. But you were like kind of like settled.
Alright? That's the style I put.
In that, you know, it didn't make me like, oh, it's too much. It was really like paced nicely, so I like that. And then
For a violinist, it really, as far as making a living, it's kind of either you go into the academic route or you go into the professional orchestra route, because no one is going to make a living as a soloist. That is reserved for a very, very, very few people, and that is already kind of, those careers are already happening right now.
What's your greatest fear? You mentioned fears earlier.
Yeah, what my greatest fear? Probably that I will miss something that could be given for me or could be an opportunity in my life, and then I will be sensitive enough to notice that, or like be too ignorant to not to take given opportunity or something like that, and then my life will go totally a different direction.
Is there another kind of question you would like me to ask?
No.
Because of course we could talk for hours.
Yeah.
No,
I will look at this footage and when I get
we can go again.
together, we can go again. If I
Right. So
decide-
why don't we? Well, so I want to get you to the thing
Yeah.
on time. So
Okay.
so we can go again, and that reminds me while you are packing up.
Is there any questions you'd like me to ask you?
No. Maybe when I was like 15, 16, I said I want to be a violinist.